Hi there, Flosstube. This is my first Flosstube video. My name is Lydia. I'm the TallyStitcher. I live in Florida's capital city of Tallahassee, hence the Tally. And in the last few months, I've really jumped into cross-stitching with a burning passion. A little bit about me. I've lived in Florida my entire life. I'm a born and bred Floridian. Um, my husband and I live in the capital city, as I mentioned, and I work in the museum field in public history. So I have a lot of interests in historic architecture, art history, local history, using local resources, and protecting and interpreting them, because I love learning and I love creating stories, telling stories, and sharing stories. And I'm also very type A, and I really enjoy the process of creating what can be a customizable piece with cross stitch. Um, I've only been doing this in earnest for the past couple months. I've tried a couple times in the past to really get into cross stitching, but when I first started, which was back in probably 2016, it was after a little bit after I've been dating my now husband, and he's been cross stitching since he was a child. He's actually a prolific cross stitcher. Um, I had some starts and stops. Maybe my first projects were a little over ambitious, but I also was getting into grad school, which is its own whole thing. And I also had at the time, undiagnosed type 2 diabetes, which was really affecting my eyesight, my energy levels, and just my ability to focus on something as meticulous as cross stitch can be. So I put it down for a while. I love all sorts of other crafts. My mom is very artistic. It's always been very much encouraged in my family. And a very regular date spot for my husband and myself is Michael's or Joann's. So it's nice to jump into this community and be welcomed with open arms. We just visited one of our closest local needle shop, which is Cindy's Needlework Cottage in Havana, Florida, which is about 20 minutes north of us. Very delightful. Shout out to Cindy. She's very helpful. She will get you anything that you need. But it's also nice to be able to support local businesses, and that's a trend that I see in this community of Flosstube, of cross stitchers, and other fiber artists, is to make sure that you can try to source it locally if you can. So I really appreciate that as someone who protects local resources. Oops, there we go. So with that being said, I have had several whips that are pretty old. So I will start by talking about my whips and kind of what I'm drawn to. My husband and I, we've been stitching almost every night for several months now. Unless there's nights where, I'm meal prepping for the week or it's just really busy. I have two cats, which you might see running around, jumping on me and around me and making noise. They make it interesting to try to stitch with tiny needles and thread, but they're my babies. So I have my different works in progress here. Sorry, I keep bumping the camera. I'll try to stop that. So I've got I've got a couple different things going on. They're different styles, but I think that's okay. I'm still learning what I like as a cross stitcher, techniques that I like, fabrics that I like, and just getting into the hobby. So one of my oldest works in progress would be this dimensions kit, which is called Purity, Strength, and Truth. It's kind of a Buddha sitting under the tree meditating piece that my husband got me for probably Christmas several years ago. This one was very difficult for me to stitch on because the fabric, which is 14 count beige Aida, was very difficult for me to see, especially kind of before I got my diabetes under control. So I really, at night after a day of being at school and just, you know, brains shot, the fatigue was enormous before I got my diabetes under control. So trying to be able to stitch on this was painful, essentially, because as you can tell, the colors on the starting bit are very close to the cloth. I'm trying to get the best representation there. It's a little easier now, but this is still a little difficult for me. And as I encounter mistakes that I made years ago starting it, I'm learning how to iron those out as I go. And different projects, I allow myself to make mistakes, totally fine. There are certain ones where it's very difficult to hide mistakes, so I will end up taking those out. But I'm not afraid for things to be custom made because I put a stitch in the wrong spot and need to account for it. So I was working on this before Christmas last year, and then I got an idea in my head to make some little Christmas ornaments for my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. And I will get pictures of those together probably for my next Flosstube, and I will insert them. That way you guys can see what those were. I do post to my Instagram, but I'm not sure if I'm going to share that just yet because I do go by my complete personal information on that one, and I'm not sure I want to go that way, which is fine. So that's one of my oldest whips. I have another one that's even older, and I have since put it away. And it is, I think, another Dimensions kit. It's huge. It's the 12 Days of Christmas kind of in Santa's coat. And it's on probably 14 or 16 count Aida. And I was working a little bit on that as well last November-ish. Put it away to do the Christmas projects. And then I decided I will pull it back out in July and work on it in July. And then I'll pull it out and work on it probably in Novembers and Decembers going forward. And it'll be one of those pieces that comes out a few times a year to get worked on, but it is massive. So Buddha's one of the oldest ones. I have another, several Dimensions kits. I have a little bicycle that I'll have to get a picture of and show you guys next time because I leave that one at work. It's my lunch stitching bit, very small, maybe 6 or 8 inches. You guys have probably seen it. It's the Enjoy the Ride one, and I've color converted the bicycle frame to yellow because my husband did the same pattern in the tealish blue that they include in the kit, and my idea was I'd like to stitch something slightly different than him. And we do that a lot when we do not couples projects, but if we're doing the same thing, like if we're going to Painting with a Twist and we're doing the same painting, we often will change like the colors of the flowers or some feature just because we want to, but also just in case we hang the same paintings in the house. If you hear the stampede, that's my cats. Anyway, so I have a lot of more recent projects that I've started, and another Christmas present from my husband was this Realis kit called Herbs, and I started working on this shortly before the new year. It's a very lovely piece to work with because it uses slightly different threads than most people use, and it uses a wool acrylic blend rather than the cotton DMC people are probably used to, and it just makes for a very interesting and pleasant stitch. So it's out of its frame right now. Let me see the best way. Here we go. And it's 4 bundles of different drying herbs. I really will need to switch cameras on this so you guys can see the details. And so I just kind of plugging along at this. It's so soft because of the wool. Also another very forgiving piece if you count wrong, stitch wrong, just pop the color in somewhere nearby and kind of fluff as you go. I am doing a little bit of parking on this one, just just to see if I like the technique. I tend to use it only with a few strands here and there. I'm not sure I would ever do a bunch of parking like some people do on their full coverage pieces. That horrifies me. Maybe horrifies isn't the word, but the organizational part of it doesn't seem to be there, and I don't love that. But just in case you haven't seen how the floss comes for a Realis kit, they come kind of on these almost like bobbin cards, which is really nice. They're not in skeins. I don't notice they tangle as much as DMC threads, probably because of they're kind of fuzzy because of the wool, but super pleasant to work with. I'll get back to that at some point as I switch things out. I mean, I didn't mean to have as many whips as I have or want to have or will be having, but I've noticed a trend with Flosstube, and we love whips. We love having a variety of projects to work on. I'm not sure yet if I'm a process stitcher or a product stitcher. I think I'm a bit of both. I do like cross stitching for the meditative aspect of it. It's a little bit of a puzzle. It's kind of like dot to dot, which I really like. And little pixel things. So I'll show you guys a little bit later. I might do a weird cell phone thing and show you guys. So since I'm into all sorts of the art side, I've also started creating cross stitch patterns. So I'm working on my first one, and we'll get to that. So the reason I put down the Realis is because I found the Modern Folk Embroidery 2021 stitch along. I think Modern Folk Embroidery, the YouTube channel, popped up one day when I was surfing the tube, and I was like, ooh, I like these types of samplers, and found out that he does that Jacob designs the stitch alongs every year, and I was like, I want to do it. My husband was working on one. I'm not sure if he's in love with it or if he's going to continue it, but I love it. And even though I struggled, or I felt like I was struggling to get the first page done, which I finished last weekend anyway, I was so excited for it to finally come. We started a couple days late, waiting for our fabric to arrive. I believe we got it from Everything Stitch. Ordered the fabric and like half of our skeins because we cleared out our local Joann's of all the things. Anyway, so Modern Folk Embroideries 2021 stitch along. Let's see how the best color for this. So this is chocolate raspberry 16 count Aida. I can't see much smaller than 18 count. That's just the truth. And so I usually stick around 16. I don't think I even have an 18 on anything that I can think of. Everything's 16 or larger. And that's okay. I'm okay admitting that I can't see to move to a different type of fabric. I accept that. So actually, this is not even, like I said, I'm okay with making mistakes, especially if I can figure out how to fix them. So this one actually does have a little flub in it, but I feel good about changing it up. The DMC flosses are, I believe, 3771 and 3776. I may have to start inserting pictures that way you guys can see the true colors of these, or get a better setup. The window is kind of shining on me, but it's not helping with the natural lighting. Anyway, I really do like this piece. I love my color choices. It's going to be striking, and I'm excited about that. I have it in a Q-snap, and I have like binder clips holding the rest of the fabric. I haven't yet invested in a grime guard or those little magnetic things. We kind of just work with what we got. Between us, my husband and I have 3 scroll frames, random hoops, Q-snaps, and we just kind of, whatever's available is what one of us will grab if we start a new project. Or we have to, we'll unsnap something and plug it in, which I think he did the night before last when he wanted to start another project. So after that one was when we visited our local needle shop for the first time, kind of went through her kits, and she has some kind of vintagey ones, you know, just old kits from like the 90s. And she has stuff by Needle Treasures, which apparently she told us is a company that went defunct once the owners passed away and there was no great legal setup. And so in her little bin, they had this guy, which is beside the still water. It's like a little church on a lake. Let me see if this is any better. Um, and I love architecture pieces. I love historic architecture. I worked in a historic house museum. I've done historic research surveys. I got a thing. I buy the Lego architecture sets. It's a thing. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, I had to get this because I haven't yet dove into collecting the Victorians Across America pieces by Debbie Patrick. They're all on my Etsy wish list, but I liked that this was already a kit. It was already kitted up, just because getting stuff kitted up. Hey. So I started that one this past Monday, actually. I've started this one. And this is how far I've gotten with it. It's on a blue Ada 14 count. Very nice and soft cotton. As I keep working on it, the stitching, it looks like different animals to me. Right now it looks like a weird baboon. But it's like the part of the church and the roof it's coming through. Is that better for the colors? Not really, but that's okay. So I really like architecture pieces, and so I snapped my Realis out of this, the herbs, and threw this one in, and I've been stitching on it, which I really like. I feel like it stitches very quickly because it's a lot of big blocks of vertical colorations, which I like. I did have to, I had done like this section here Monday night, came back Tuesday, and noticed I had added an extra row that there was no way I could work over it. I was really sad. So I had to frog the whole thing, like seam ripper frog the whole thing and start again. And I was determined to at least get back to where I was. And then I've been working on it. I think a couple nights this week I haven't worked on it. On Monday nights, I tend not to actually stitch as much because currently I'm in a clay building modeling class through March. So sometimes I don't get stitching done on Mondays, which is fine. I usually stitch on Saturdays. On Sundays, we visit our in-laws and usually stitch for hours up there on and off. My husband learned cross-stitching from his mother, who can, you know, she does knitting, sometimes quilting, and she's cross-stitched before. She has, we have a joke that she has a Teresa Wentzler English garden cottage that she started about 29 years ago when she was pregnant with my sister-in-law, and then hasn't really finished it or picked it up since then. And now she's not sure if she'll be able to finish it. So it's on a very small, like a 20, 22, something small count linen for her eyesight. And so she says if she can't really see enough with even like a magnifying setup, then she'll pass it on to one of us to finish. And it's probably going to be my husband because, like I said, old girl's eyes aren't as good either, which is okay. It totally is okay. So those are the works in progress that I have that I'm actively kind of working on. Like I said, the Santa I put up until July. I also have like 30 stitches on another Dimensions kit that's on black Ada. I think it's called like the Lady in Black. It's actually got very few stitches in it, but I haven't put her in any hoop to work on, and I thought I was being called to start on her again, but I haven't yet, so it's fine. But what did come and what I was waiting for is, of course, everybody has to, what we've noticed also with Flosstube is there are the superstar designers where everybody's working on, you know, at least your favorite piece by that designer. And Mirabilia, Nora Corbett, is one of those designers. Same thing with like Teresa Wentzler and Renato Parolin, these different designers. Or you have your Heaven and Earth full coverage piece. So everybody has their things. Um, I have more patterns that I've purchased. I don't have anything else kitted up except one of these, and that is my Mirabilia. And I hemmed and hawed about which one I liked the most. I'm not really into mermaids, so I really wasn't drawn to a lot of the newer designs. I'm still pretty picky. I think everybody's picky with their cross stitch. Well, no, people just like to cross stitch things, but I'm picky enough. And so I had been hemming and hawing on which design I wanted to get by Mirabilia. And I thought I was going to go with red for a while. And then I kept scrolling through the backlog of stuff, and I was like, ooh, this is much more my color palette and my style. And this is one of her designs from like 2000, so it's pretty old. And this is Scent of Old Roses. And she just came in the mail yesterday. So like I have been waiting with bated breath for her to get here. So I'm not doing her on this olivey brownish fabric. I actually ordered something from Fabrics by Stephanie, and that's what I'll be waiting for the longest to get here, honestly, is the fabric from there, because they're backed up because of COVID, which is totally fine. I got enough stuff to work on. If it's here by my birthday in March, that's great. But so I bought the kit off Etsy, and it came with the beads. My cats again. Came with the little beads, not a ton compared to some other kits. My husband's working on Athena, and I could see the beads for his. This is for my husband's Athena kit, so a lot more beads. But 1 second, and I will grab my floss for the Mirabilia that I'm working on. And I bought all my floss from my, there you go again, from my local needle workshop. She had to order one Krynic for me, but that's okay. So this kit uses some Whisper white on the coat trimmings. It's got 2 different Krynics. This is like a pinky. This is number 23 for number 4. It's like a pinky, and then there's a green that she ordered for me that she has that I'll pick up next time we visit with her, which will probably be whenever some of the stuff that my husband ordered comes in. He's got some water lilies he's waiting for, and if he wants to kit up something else, because he's got a lot more projects going as well as planned. So I really like since our first couple things we've kitted up either at Joann's, or my stuff comes in a kit, or for the stitch along, it's 2 colors. I didn't get the full joy of kitting up a full thing until this Mirabilia, and I love it. I got little things falling everywhere. I love the experience of finding the colors, picking them up, seeing how they go together. The way Miss Cindy has her shop organized is, she gives you a little like shallow basket to put your stuff in, and it's just an experience, and I love it. I hope everyone has a needle shop, even, slightly as nice as hers, because it's just a pleasant experience. And I know that she probably misses having even more customers visit and stuff. So hopefully my fabric comes from Fabrics by Stephanie, and maybe by the end of this month, maybe by March. It's the colorway Melody, if you want to check it out. It's kind of a pinky gray, really warm tones. What I've also started doing now that I've come full circle is I don't have anything else. Well, actually, I have the chart printed out for a Carolyn Manning, but I don't have it kitted up, so we'll talk about that maybe in a future Flosstube. But what I have been doing is I know there's pattern making programs online, totally free, where you load in your picture and you're ready to go. But sometimes I want more of a stylistic thing, and I'm usually good enough at things that I can figure it out for a lot of projects. And so I was like, I want to, if these don't exist, I want to make some cross stitch patterns of some of the iconic historic Florida architecture where I cannot find a pattern. I've told some of the sites themselves will have patterns, but if I can't find it online, it's not that easily accessible to me. Can't be driving up and down the state, visiting different gift shops, looking for these things if I want to make it myself, because I also find enjoyment from designing things. So I wrote and illustrated a children's book last year for my museum, and it's about a little alligator, and he visits some of these Florida historic sites looking for a castle because he learns about dragons. And so he visits different castle-like structures. And it was an excuse for me to be able to color and draw and do historic architecture as illustrations. And I had a blast. Love it. Let me know if you want me to drop the link for that in here. It's a free download from our website. I read it aloud as well, so I think you can go to the museum's website and see me read it. My hair was much longer then. I cut it all off in August. I'm actually getting a haircut later next month, so I'm excited about that. Anyway, so things like the historic Tampa Bay Hotel, which is now the Flagler or the Plant Museum, or the old Flagler Hotel, which is where Flagler College's campus used to be a hotel called the Ponce de Leon. Super ornate, things like that. Bok Tower at Bok Tower Gardens is this huge Caroline Bell singing tower. And then what I'm working on currently is the Ringling Museum, which is called the Ca d'Azan. And this is going to be a horrible way for me to show you this, but until I give more thought to these videos, this is what I got. So I'm using just an online editor. I think it's called Stitch Fiddle to create what's essentially, pixel art. Ooh, that's terrible. No, I'll have to show you guys it a different way, something better. Kind of like that. I've actually worked on it more today, so it's even more filled out. Anyway, it reminds me of doing pixel art, which I did in high school. I did a lot of stuff with that. I've always liked graphic design as well. I've done logos for people. I did a t-shirt. I've done t-shirts, like custom t-shirts. I just like it. I like doing artsy stuff. So that's how this falls over into that. So I'm working on the Ca d'Azan, which is going to be much larger than I thought it was going to be just because of the way the scaling has worked. I'm totally fine with that. Once I see how big it is, then my husband suggested, oh, well, when you do Bok Tower, make that a bell pull. And I was like, brilliant, because I'll just buy one long thing of fabric, and the Ca d'Azan is as long as Bok Tower is tall. So it'll be great from just one piece of fabric. I'm doing it kind of in the style of Debbie Patrick's Victorians Across America. So it's kind of like not quite an isometric drawing, but it's definitely like a front elevation, like architectural rendering. So that's what I'm drawn to, and that's what I would like to stitch. So I'm working on that, and then I will see if I can stitch it up. I haven't decided if I want to try to sell the patterns, if there's any interest in that. There'd be digital downloads. I think I'd want to stitch it, or at least start stitching it to know that it's working before I offer it for sale anywhere, but that's fine. So yeah, so for my first Flosstube, we're almost at a half hour, so I will go ahead and wrap up. As you can see in the background that we're into art, we're into projects. These are some felt appliques, these little two round guys here and here. Those are felt appliques. This is a wooden puzzle that's made this deer. This is a puzzle of a cathedral. It's actually a postcard blown up into a puzzle and we have another puzzle up the stairs that's a Frank Lloyd Wright piece. So yeah, we are into arts and crafts in this house. And I don't know if my husband will ever join me for a Flosstube, but maybe I'll be able to maybe show some of his work at least. I'll ask him. So yeah, so thanks for watching. I don't know the frequency of uploading works, maybe every 2 weeks to show progress on stuff. I know that with the stitch alongs, I try to get them done like as fast as I can before I switch to a different project. That way I don't go get behind, is my idea. So thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them as I begin my journey as a floss tuber. And if there's other projects and stuff that you want to see, let me know. I can always break out some of the ones that are stuffed away. And yeah, so again, my name is Lydia. I'm the TallyStitcher. And oh, there's one of the kitties. So thank you for watching. Have a great Saturday. Yep, this is Saturday, January 30th. Yep, that's today. So Saturday, January 30th. All right. Bye, everyone.